This is Bishop E.W. Jackson, founder and president of STAND, staying true to America's national destiny. Every liberal media outlet is celebrating the election of two Muslim women to Congress, Ilhan Omar of Minnesota and Rashida Tlaib of Michigan. Since they both wear the traditional hijab, Nancy Pelosi will move to repeal a 180-year-old rule prohibiting head coverings on the floor of Congress. Some suggested that all the women in Congress wear the hijab in solidarity with their new Muslim colleagues. In fact, a CNN anchor suggested 2 years ago that all American women wear the hijab in solidarity with Muslim women against the Trump presidency. I commented on my radio show that if women wear hijab on the floor of Congress, it will look like an Islamic republic. The mainstream media went wild, depicting me as a raving lunatic, while portraying the newly elected Muslims as courageous representatives of American diversity. Both women will be sworn in on the Quran, and Tlaib will wear a Palestinian robe to show she is firmly in the anti-Israel camp. What a surprise. By the way, it's interesting to note that Jews have served in Congress since the early 1800s, and there's been no Jewish push to allow wearing the yarmulke. Well, learning of my comments, Ms. Omar responded, quote, "The floor of Congress will look like America, just deal," close quote. Well, first, most American women do not wear Islamic headdress, and I have no idea what just deal means. I do know that wrapping leftist ideology in a hijab doesn't make it right or good for America. It is clear that Ilhan Omar is an American-hating leftist who is using her religion to win sympathy as a victim. Muslims have not been victims of Americans. It is the other way around. Islam has killed 3,000 of our people on 9/11 and have killed many more in other terrorist attacks. Yet by her own admission, after 9/11, Omar did not start an anti-terrorist movement within Islam. She did not express mourning over the deaths of fellow citizens. Instead, she played the Muslim victim card and decided to start wearing her hijab to express pride in her Islamic identity. Having escaped war-torn Somalia to come to America, was she grateful to live in a nation of peace and prosperity? No. She says upon arrival in America, she was confronted with, quote, "my otherness" as a Muslim and black. She and her family were granted asylum, and her first impression is the otherness she feels. She's exactly the kind of immigrant we do not need, a perfect ingrate. She was barely sworn in as a citizen when her resentment surfaced. Quote, "I think back to the citizenship orientations I went through a little over 20 years ago. They did not have people who were homeless. There was an America where prosperity was guaranteed. I wasn't comfortable with that hypocrisy," close quote. She should have failed her citizenship test. In America, it is up to each individual to make the most of our gifts and abilities. Our Constitution secures our God-given freedom and fundamental rights. No one is guaranteed prosperity. According to the New York Times, Omar, quote, concluded that America was not the golden land she had heard about. Sorry we disappointed her. If America is not golden enough for her, she can return to the Somali hell from which she escaped. I remind her, Nancy Pelosi, and the women of Congress that Islamic law enslaves women in a system of beating, rape, genital mutilation, honor killings, and denial of education. I recently interviewed Kamal Salim, a former jihadist and member of the Muslim Brotherhood, now a Christian. He confirms that Islam is not merely a religion. It is a cultural, political, and military system of conquest through violence, stealth, or both. His mission was to undermine America's way of life and demand submission to Sharia law. Islam does not assimilate, it infiltrates. If there's any doubt about that, look at the crisis Europe is facing with its Muslim population. The end goal of Islam is all people living under a worldwide Islamic caliphate. Any honest Muslim will admit that. But then again, under the doctrine of taqiyya, it is acceptable to lie to advance the cause of Islam. In America, Muslims have the right to practice their religion in the private sphere. However, allowing Sharia law into our legal and political system is subversive of our constitutional republic. An Arab parable warns against letting a camel get its nose into the tent. Allowing the hijab required by Sharia to be worn on the floor of Congress is the camel's proverbial nose. Omar says, quote, "and this is not the last ban I'm going to work to lift." Really? What ban will she seek to lift next? Polygamy? Honor killings? Wife beating? That Arab parable ends with this warning. It is a wise rule to resist the beginnings of evil. We have been warned. I'm Bishop E.W. Jackson, founder and president of STAND, staying true to America's national destiny. Visit our website at standamerica.us.